All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the first school board meeting of 2006. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. The first order of business is to select a school board chair. At this time, I will hear nominations from the board.
Mr. Chairman, continuity is a very important thing with a school board, and we've had that for several years. The vision and leadership of Ms. Bauer has carried us through for several years. We have several projects that need to be accomplished, and I value her leadership. Therefore, I would nominate Mrs. Catherine Bauer as school board chairman for 2016.
Okay. Kathy Bauer has been nominated. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, nominations are closed. We'll now vote. All those in favor of Kathy Bauer being elected to serve as board chair, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Hearing none. Congratulations, Mrs. Bauer. You get to come take over the meeting. We're just going to do the vice chair.
Vice chair, and then they can come up.
Yes. Yep.
Now we need to nominate someone for vice chair. Is there a nomination? Mr. Williams?
Madam Chair, I would like to nominate Doug Rosen for vice chair. He is prompt, the fortitude to say what's on his mind. I think he's a good team player, and I think he'll work well with all of us.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other nominations? All those in favor of Mr. Rosen for vice chair signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Rosen. You all may come and take your seats.
Wonderful mess.
Thank you. Oh, no. Mine's way down too, but I'm just
You want to put it out?
I'm short
As soon as
anyhow.
my grandfather gets settled in.
Y'all hold tight. We'll be there in a minute.
Okay,
We gotta
there we
get
go.
these things.
Get our heights adjusted.
County's buying cheap chairs or something.
Oh, they're nice chairs. They just, they must have some tall people
Hard
that
to
sit in them
adjust.
before we get up here. Okay, next on the agenda is the appointment of Warren County School Board Clerk. Mr. Drescher?
I would recommend that the school board clerk be Rob Ballantyne.
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to appoint Rob Ballantyne as clerk of Warren County School Board.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Mr. Ballantyne, thank you.
Congratulations.
Deputy Clerk, Mr. Drescher, do you have a recommendation?
I do. Annette Bass is currently our deputy clerk, and I would recommend that she continue. And I would also recommend that you elect a backup to that deputy clerk, and I would be happy to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there someone who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion in support of that.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Annette Bass will be our deputy clerk, and Mr. Drescher will be backup. Mountain Vista Governor School Board, member that attends, I believe it's once a month on Thursdays for Mountain Vista Governor School. Is there a nomination or anybody?
I think we've spoken before, and Madam
I'd-
Chairman, you agreed.
I'd be happy to do it.
I would nominate you for that position.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. I'm sure I can depend on Mrs. Sharefko to fill me in on all that. She was very passionate about Mountain Vista Governor School. Building committee representatives, I know Mr. Rosen and I have been on the building committee in the past.
Yeah. I'm happy, sir. Continue unless someone else.
Is everyone in favor of having the two of us continue in that position? Okay, and we're working on the new middle school now, so it's very exciting. Okay, is there a motion, please?
Yeah, I'll just preface that by saying that the two representatives generally have been able to be there, but in the past, it's been sort of a shared responsibility. If one of two appointed members couldn't get there, one of the other three board members would try to fill in so that we had two board members there. But with that said, I would nominate Mrs. Bauer and Mr. Rosen for building committee representatives.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Appointment of designee to attend meetings of the school board in the absence of the division superintendent. Mr. Drescher, do you have anything to say on that?
I would recommend the appointment of Melody Shepard to do that in my absence.
Is that okay with Mrs. Shepard? She's sitting there smiling. Okay. Could I have a motion, please?
I move that Melody Shepard be the designee to attend school board meetings in the absence of Mr. Drescher.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Shepard. Next item on the agenda is to accept or modify the agenda. Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman, I move that we accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Community participation. Is there anyone who would like to address the board? Okay. Consent agenda. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
Madam Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as specified.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Boy, we're speeding through here tonight. Report, staff report. Instruction, Mr. Fox and Mrs. Rudisil.
Good evening, everyone. A Happy New Year, and a special welcome to Mrs. McKeithrin. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Earlier this fall, the accreditation status for Skyline High School was announced. Their accreditation status of partially accredited, approaching the benchmark pass rate, shows that they barely missed their accreditation status. On December the 16th, 2015, the school underwent an academic review. At the conclusion of this review, a plan was developed jointly between the contractor, administration from Skyline High School, and also several personnel from the school board, from the central office, Mrs. Rudisil, myself, Mr. Maffei, Mrs. Drescher, and Mrs. Scott. The report I'm going to give you tonight on the essential actions is not the official report. We haven't received that back yet, but we do anticipate this being their actions. The essential actions are recommendations. The school is tasked to develop a 3-year school improvement plan. Mr. Smith began this immediately when he came in as principal of Skyline High School, and he and his leadership team have been working on this throughout the fall, and he has a solid working plan with action steps that they are taking at Skyline High School right now. The plan is to be submitted to the Department of Education in October of 2016. Prior to the submission, it will be presented to you for your approval. There are 3 essential actions that the division is to take. And along with that, there will be 3 actions that the school will take. But tonight we're here to talk about the division. It says that the division will develop a systematic approach to providing feedback to principals regarding their feedback to teachers. In short, the Department of Education has asked that division personnel take a more active role in providing principals with feedback on the discussions that they have with teachers regarding the instruction in the classroom. We have done some professional development, frankly, through Mrs. Rudisil and Mr. Maffei on the use of formative assessments in classrooms and how that shapes instruction. So the first things that we'll be looking for in February will be the comments that the principal and his assistants make to his staff regarding the use of formative assessments in the classroom. The current plan is for Mr. Smith and also personnel from Warren County High School, Warren County Middle School, and each of the elementary schools to submit 3 completed observation summaries prior to February the 1st. Ms. Russell?
Good evening. The other 2 essential actions for the division revolved around professional development. And the first one says that we are to develop a system to provide professional development to administration on the written, taught, and tested curriculum. We are planning to address that in 2 different ways. One is to narrow the scope of our professional development. We offer a lot of professional development to a lot of different audiences, teachers, administrators, instructional assistants. So VDOE, our VDOE contractor, recommended that we try to narrow our focus. And the second one is to have that professional development for administrators be ongoing. And at this point, the topics, as Mr. Fox said, that those topics are revolving around formative assessment and the alignment of lesson objectives to the standards in both rigor and content. So we've been working on that. The second essential action is to ensure that administration has the training and background to lead training at the school level. A majority of our principal, assistant principal, and leadership team meetings include some form of professional development for administrators. Our plan moving forward will be to include focused and ongoing professional development to administrators so that they're able not only to provide training to their staffs, but to understand what it looks like when a teacher is using specific instructional strategies appropriately. This leads to the final essential action for the division, which is to develop a system to monitor administrator feedback to teachers on the implementation of that professional development. And Mr. Fox touched on that it will be the responsibility of he and myself to support the administrators and taking a look at the comments that they make and the feedback that they give to teachers when they come in to do formal observations, so that we help them make that feedback as specific and relevant to how teachers are implementing professional development within their classrooms. Are there any questions about any of those essential actions that Mr. Fox or I could answer?
You said that you were looking at narrowing the focus, but you had mentioned that administration, teachers, and aides.
Yes.
When you say narrowing the focus, are you saying that you're not going to be offering professional development for everyone now, or
No,
you're just
not
narrowing
at all.
the topics?
Yes. Different audiences, of course, have different needs. So our instructional assistants have very different needs as what our teachers might or our administrators might. And we will continue. What will be a little bit different and what VDOE recommended be a little bit different about our approach is we as the instructional resource team are delivering an awful lot of that professional development to the individual schools and to groups of teachers. And what makes it difficult then is that we're not in the buildings to answer teachers' questions as they're trying to implement the professional development that we're asking of them. So VDOE recommended that our focus be on really making sure that our building principals and assistant principals are properly trained so that they are there every day to answer their teachers' questions, and when they go into the classroom to observe, they actually know what it is they should be looking for in regard to the professional development initiatives that we have.
Okay, great, thank you.
And what's the timeline for these 3 initiatives?
Well, the first, as far as helping the principals take a look at their formal observation documents, February 1st is when they will have that initial, we'll have 3 from each of the principals that will kind of help them review and give them feedback on. And then they'll do that again, I believe, May 1st. May the 1st is the next date that they'll do that as far as end year goes. And then the expectation is that as a division, we will continue with that practice from here on out, that it won't just be something we do this year. The timeline, a majority of our timelines were July 1 to have the system in place. So that didn't take too long to figure out what our system would be, which was really the expectation for us for the remainder of this year. But since we have figured out what some of our systems will be and what we hope will be effective, then we're ready to go ahead and implement those and move forward with them.
Okay, great. Any other questions or comments?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rudisill. Mr. Fox? Superintendent report. Mr. Drescher.
Thank you. Well, I'd just like to welcome everyone back to Warren County Public Schools after the winter break. Students returned today to a rather chilly morning. What was unique about today was this was the first time that we're returning to school after winter break as the first day of the semester. As you know, that we did that with our calendar. All semester courses were completed. SOL tests were taken prior to the winter break. And what we're hoping is this is a benefit to both teachers and students in that they didn't have to return after a break and immediately start reviewing in the testing process. So we believe that will be a benefit to everybody. Just a word on the middle school, new middle school progress. We're on schedule. Today they poured footers, or yesterday they poured footers. That's the second time they were doing that, so that's a big deal. Between Shockey and their subcontractors, there are about 30 workers on site, and it's really a hubbub of activity, and I certainly would encourage you to go out and take a look, because it looks different every week. You know, we go out there once a week.
Can you get onto the site pretty easily? Or I've been driving up and looking from Mule Drive and not wanting to go on the site.
Well, typically that's what they probably would prefer, is
Okay.
that people not go up on the site. There is a construction entrance off Happy Creek now that is easy to get on and get to. I would assume they don't want public going up there all the time to take a look at it, but you can see pretty well from Mule Drive. If you go down to the end, and I can't remember the name of that little street that cuts back to where Leach Run is going to be.
Where they had the ribbon cutting
For the
for
ribbon
Leach
cut,
Run?
yeah.
Yes.
But if you go there and look, I guess it would be north from there, it is a really good view of the whole site, and you can actually see how Leach Run Parkway is coming along. So it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good.
Just want to let everyone know that lockdown drills are being scheduled at all of our schools. This is a twice-a-year drill that's done with support from the Sheriff's Office, and we try to do those 2 times a year to keep everybody ready in case there is an emergency. The RFP for financing for the ESCO project for Ressie Jeffries was released today. And with the due date for those RFPs, January 21st. So we will be coming to you at our first February meeting for some action on that financing. So we're moving forward. Everything's going
Great.
there. The Board of Supervisors did approve the roof and entryway design, the dollars for that, and Mosley Architects will be working on that with post haste. I know that they said, let's get going.
Good.
So those 2 big things are happening. And then Source for Teachers, our new substitute teacher vendor, has held meetings with all interested current substitutes. The meetings have been very positive. They've worked in conjunction with Mr. Smith. I know there have been many, many questions, but I think Mr. Smith would say that after each meeting, there was a good understanding of how the process should work, and that actually many of our current subs are signing on. And I believe he told me 90 at this point in time. And I'd like to introduce two gentlemen that are in our audience, Joseph Fitzgerald and Brandon Cooper. And thank you guys for being here. I know you've been working hard these last few days. They've been in the office going through a lot of things, and I think you've had 3 separate meetings in order to cover all the subs. So I don't know, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, if there are any questions that the board has, maybe there aren't any, but
Or anything you'd like to tell us?
yeah, comment?
It's a pleasure to be here. As you said, we've had 90 individuals come out, and we're processing the paperwork. As you imagine, it's a big process to be able to get all the necessary paperwork. So we're in progress in doing that, and we've already started to do some initial recruiting in the community. So you might already see some of our flyers and stuff at local businesses and
Okay.
other community avenues, so that we can replenish our pool. We always need to recruit for substitutes. So.
Good, thank you.
Overall, have you seen a positive response from people that you?
Correct, yes. It's been good to be able to meet with them. There's always a little bit of anxiety when there's change. And so
Sure.
We've been able to, with Mr. Smith, we've been able to meet with those, that was concerned and meet with them. So it's been a good experience.
Good.
How many substitutes do we currently have?
We have roughly 140 that are on our list.
Okay.
And a substantial number of those are not very active. So to have 90 of our group sign on, I think was a really good sign that folks.
More than I expected.
Yeah, is that right?
In the
Okay.
first 3 meetings. We're trending higher than what I expected. So
Okay. So we're above average all the time, right? Okay, very good.
Okay, great.
And what's our timeline?
We're going to roll out with this in March. Is that correct? March?
7th of March is our.
7th of March, yes.
And the training, when is that going to be happening? Or is that what's happening right now?
Right now, it's training for your, what we call district originals, substitutes that we process over. Tomorrow, we're going to have some principal training that I will conduct tomorrow. And then in February, we will do what we call campus user training, which is anyone that is the point person in the building. So secretaries or bookkeeper or assistant principal, whoever has those duties. And then we'll also have teacher training in February also.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's been good. Been very smooth.
Okay, well, thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you.
And that's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you. School board report. I want to start with Mr. Williams. I'm not going to put Mrs. McKeithen on the spot her first night. I'm going to start at this end.
You know, I was sitting here thinking, I started down there, and I was put on the spot the first night, and I was thinking, poor Ms. McKeithen. But then I was thinking, I'll just say ditto, and we'll have it good. But anyway, Happy New Year to everybody. Welcome, Ms. McKeithen. Congratulations to Ms. Bauer, Mr. Rosen. Look forward to this year. As Greg said, or Mr. Drescher, I'm sorry, apologize. We were actually at that meeting the other day with the Board of Supervisors, and it was good to see them approve the drawings to be made, and everybody was excited, and they were really pushing to see what could happen. I'm glad for, that we're going to now get the financing hopefully straight. I think a lot of good things coming this year, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Thank you. Mr. Rosen.
Well, first of all, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everybody had a great holiday season and got through everything. My dog got hurt and my mother-in-law was sick, but other than that, my wife and I made it through and got to spend a lot of time with our grandkids, which is really a highlight of our life. Thank you all very much for your confidence in electing me vice chairman. I'll do my best, even though Kathy's tough there, but she'll probably teach me a few things, hopefully.
Doubt it.
I was very pleased at the supervisors meeting the other morning to see I hesitate to use the word camaraderie, but that's what it was, and the listening and mutual respect for Mr. Drescher and from the other members of the Board of Supervisors, and also that no hang-ups on moving ahead with our plans for Ressie Jeffries. Also, the Board of Supervisors made it very clear that Ressie has been on the list, but due to funding, et cetera, it's been difficult to try to get there because we needed the new schools for the to address capacity issues. So looking forward to serving my first 12-month tenure as a member of the board instead of 3 months, I think was the last time.
Thank you. Mrs. McKeithen.
Well, Happy New Year to everyone. I'm very excited to be here.
We have a lot of great things coming ahead. I'm very excited to be part of that, and thanks for all your support.
Thank you. And Mr. Wells?
Happy New Year to everyone. Congratulations. And I meant what I said. I think your leadership has been great the last couple of years, and we do have a lot of things, as Mr. Williams said, on the burner this year, and I think you're the right person to lead us in that direction. Again, thanks to the Board of Supervisors for understanding our needs. They have had plans, and they're following through on those plans, and again, the continuity is really important and really appreciated. And, that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. And I also say Happy New Year. Looking forward to a great new year. Welcome to Mrs. McKeithron. And I thank everyone for your confidence in supporting me, especially supporting me as chairman. I couldn't do it without your help and keeping me straight. I need that quite often. Our winter sports are in full swing. I attended the Warren County Invitational Wrestling meet this past Saturday, and we rocked them. I tell you, we had 6 first place, 4 second place, and many other third, fourth, and fifth place. And our points, Mr. Smith probably helped me more on that. Do you remember? I know we were over 100 points ahead of the other teams, and there were 9 other schools represented. Yes. And I believe they're having a little Warren County's wrestling this evening, Rappahannock and who else? Clark, I believe.
Clark's in it,
Yes.
I think.
Yes, so if we get out early, I might stop by and see that. And then I did attend the Warren County basketball game last evening. I didn't get to stay for the whole game, but I'm enjoying the winter sports. And that's all I have to report. Thank you. Action agenda, presentations by staff. Approval of 2016-2017 program of studies. Mr. Fox.
Annually, Warren County Public Schools updates, then produces a program of studies that outlines all of the course offerings for grades 6 through 12. At the December 10th meeting, the program of studies for 2016-17 was presented. It did have several additions to it. I'm here tonight to ask for your approval and to answer any questions that you may have.
Anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Fox? I had a question earlier, but Mr. Drescher answered that for me. I was concerned about if we didn't have the funding for some of these new programs, what would we do? And he said that everything was covered. So that's great. No? Okay, is there a motion?
I move that the program of studies for the 2016-2017 school year be approved as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Fox. Approval of resolution authorizing payment of bills in emergency situations and in months with only one school board meeting. Mr. Ballantyne.
Well, normally before any bill is paid, and we use the word bill, the Code of Virginia uses the word warrant, so that's why the wording warrant is in here. Normally before anything is paid, it is presented to the school board for your approval prior to the checks being mailed out. Tonight you approved a clerk's report that had payment of bills, and those checks will be mailed out tomorrow morning. However, there are circumstances where that really doesn't work to the advantage of the school system, and the Code of Virginia and school board policy both provide for the drawing of special warrants prior to your approval if you, by resolution, have authorized such a procedure. So each year we come and ask you to authorize that procedure because throughout the year there are circumstances where it is either advisable or even necessary to issue a payment prior to the next school board meeting. These circumstances may be such things as the payment of utility bills, debt service payments that have strict due dates and severe penalties for late payment, insurance bills, contractor payments, credit card bills, and even emergency parts and supplies that must be paid for at the time of delivery. So in these cases, a delay in payment may either incur additional costs or affect the normal operations of the school division. So therefore, we would ask that you approve this resolution again this year that would allow us to, in those emergency situations or the months during the year where you only meet once and there's a 4-week interval or more between your meetings, allow those special cases for those bills to be paid prior to your approval. Again, they will be presented at the next meeting for you to review, but in that case, they have been paid, but at least you can review them and ask any questions.
Any comments or questions for Mr. Valentine? Is there a motion?
I've got one question.
Okay.
Mr. Ballantyne, how many times a year do you think we actually have to use this?
Well, we use it, I will say we use it every month, because one example is our utility bills from the town of Front Royal. There's a penalty that's imposed if they're not paid within a strict guideline. We get a bill from them every month. So that's pretty much a given. During the months of, previously anyway, the months of July, August, and December, you only have had one scheduled meeting. So in those months, we go ahead and do a second payment of bills to keep our vendors, the cash flow going to them, and honor our commitments as far as paying them. So it happens those 3 months for sure, and each month it happens at least once where we do need to pay for some type of bill. In July, we get our debt service payment on July 1st, and it's due July 10th. And if we don't pay it, there's a huge penalty. We're basically in default, and we don't want to go there. So there are cases, and it does happen, at least once a month.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. I move that the resolution authorizing payment of compensation be adopted as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Approval of resolution authorizing payment of compensation. Mr. Valentine.
Okay, and similar to what was just presented, the same stipulations apply to payment of paying our employees. Again, those items, in this case, there is a procedure that allows for the payment of all employees, and the code specifies also school bus operators who are under a written contract, or for the payment of all other employees whose rates of pay have been established by the school board and for whom certified timesheets or other evidence of services performed have been received. And the approval of the pay rates is something you do each year when the salary scales and the miscellaneous scales are approved. So those are approved. The contracts to pay the employees are approved. And then the only thing for part-time employees that's lacking is that approved timesheet. And so we're asking that you allow us to go ahead and pay our employees in a timely manner throughout the year again for these specific cases.
Any questions for Mr. Valentine? No? Okay. Could I have a motion, please?
Madam Chairman, I move that the resolution authorizing payment of compensation be adopted as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Valentine. Award contract for the purchase of a 2012 Ford Fusion. Mr. Mitchell. Oh, Mrs. Shepherd. You look different this evening.
Yes, thank you. I hope my voice sounds a little different, too.
Yes, a little higher.
Warren County Transportation Department would like to purchase the 2012 Ford Fusion from G&M Auto Sales. This vehicle has almost 49,000 miles, and the purchase price is $12,624.11. This vehicle will be used to transport staff and students. This vehicle will replace a vehicle that the insurance declared totaled because it hit a deer on its way to Stanton.
Recently?
I don't have that answer, but I know there was no injuries.
Good.
Yes.
Those deer can do a lot of damage. Yeah. Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman, I move approval be given to purchase a 2012 Ford Fusion for the Warren County Public Schools Transportation Department.
Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Award contract for the purchase of a 2008 Chevrolet Express.
The Transportation Department would like to purchase a 2008 Chevrolet Express G2500 van from G&M Auto Sales. This vehicle has 61,608 miles, and the purchase price is $15,938.08. This vehicle will replace a van that was taken out of service a few months ago from the IT department. We donated that vehicle to the sheriff's office, and they were using it for target practice, I believe.
That's an awful big target. If they miss that vehicle target practicing, something's wrong. We usually use 10 cans. I've noticed that both of these vehicles are like as is, and they've been checked over carefully and...
So I spoke with Aaron Mitchell, and he is very happy with all three of the vehicles. I'm getting ready to do another one, but he is very happy with all three of them, and they have checked them out and are pleased with the quality.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move approval be given to purchase a 2008 Chevrolet Express G2500 for Warren County Public Schools Transportation Department.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. One more. Award contract for the purchase of a 2012 Chevrolet Colorado.
Thank you. The Transportation Department would like to purchase the 2012 Chevrolet Colorado from G&M Auto Sales. This vehicle has a little over 53,000 miles, and the purchase price is, $13,990. We will be using two vehicles to trade in on this vehicle. It will be a 2004 Chevrolet Suburban, which has over 170,000 miles on it, and we will also be trading in a 1996 Dodge van, which has 197,000 miles on it, and both are not of service to us anymore. The trade-ins for both of these vehicles are $550 each, and this vehicle will be used as a maintenance vehicle, and it's set up for HVAC. It's already got all the HVAC equipment racks installed.
This says that the purchase price is $13,024.59.
It is.
Were you taking off the
Yes.
price of the other two vehicles?
Yes. So, actually, the subtotal is 14,000.
Okay.
I don't have the actual total. $14,089 plus $10 plus $15 plus $10. So
Okay.
whatever that equals, yeah. To equal, and what we will pay is $13,024.59 after the trade-ins.
Okay. And they're only going to need one vehicle? They're trading in two vehicles for one, and they're going to be okay as far as...
They are. The Suburban was taken out of service last year, and then the Dodge van is going to be taken out of service with the implementation of this.
Okay.
Of this vehicle.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman, I move approval be given to purchase a 2012 Chevrolet Colorado for the Warren County Public Schools Transportation Department.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Shepherd. Presentations by Superintendent. Mr. Drescher.
I have no presentations this evening.
Okay, thank you. Discussions by School Board. Approval of 2016 School Board meeting calendar. Are these for the upcoming meeting? Okay,
From this point forward till December.
okay. So these are all items that are going to be discussed at our work session, or
This is actually, we're asking for approval.
for tonight? Okay.
Approval tonight, yes.
Yeah.
I move that the proposed 2016 school board meeting calendar be approved as presented, and that the Warren County School Board Policy Manual be updated to reflect this meeting schedule.
Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Adopt VS with that?
Let's see, who's our website guru these days? Yeah. You can get that changed fairly quickly on the website, Mr. Grant? Thank you.
He's shaking his head yes.
Thank you.
And he's smiling. Adopt VSBA Code of Conduct for school board members. I hope everybody had a chance to read over those. We conduct ourselves well, don't we? To look over those. They're pretty common sense type things. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that the proposed 2016 VSBA Code of Conduct for Warren County School Board members be adopted as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. February 22nd, 2016, VSBA Superintendent Evaluation Workshop. If anyone is interested in attending that, please let Mr. Ballantyne know. And then, please take the time to look over the January 20th work session agenda items. Is there any further business? We can't have a meeting this short, can we?
Sure you can.
Okay, being no further business.